It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Just use AmPace.
AmPace.
With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high-quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. Ulike.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are back in North Texas. Good to be back. Had a 6 a.m. flight this morning out of Stillwater. Got back in time to take like a 30-minute power nap because I slept like 2 hours last night. And I'm just like sharing with you what's going on with me. This is like a privilege, but and now we get to talk about sports, so I'm not complaining. And we get to talk with Jud Buechler. How about that? Chicago Bull, Arizona Wildcat. I actually called the game last night with a former teammate of his, Matt Muehlbach. The game I called was Kansas, Oklahoma State. And we'll talk about that. Kevin Fisher says, what up, Fish? We're pumped about a big Thursday show. Can't believe it's Thursday already. A lot to cover. we're going to stick primarily in this first segment with, the experience from last night and from yesterday, going to Kansas. And we got to talk about Peterson. Cam, you have Bill Self's comments?
I was just texting you to remind you because I didn't tell you before, but yes, we do have Bill Self's comments ready to go.
Perfect. Thanks, man. I will get to that. Reed, don't worry. I got you covered. I mean, I might have one thing about Michael, but yeah, I want to talk to Jud about Jud. Look, this is Reed Dion. He says, please don't ask Jud any Michael Jordan questions. I'm not that guy, by the way. I've never been that guy. I don't, not that Reed is implying this, but like, if I'm going to invite you on my show and you're Jud Buechler, I'm not going to invite you on to ask you about Michael Jordan. Like, this is not like how I roll. I want to know about Jud. I grew up watching Jud play basketball, and I watched a little MJ too, like the rest of us. But those Arizona Wildcat teams were huge, and they were a big part about why I was so taken with college basketball. Cam just sent me I did put MJ in the thumbnail. That's my guy. No problem, Cam.
I'm just saying, it was talked about yesterday.
Hey, dude, we're selling over here as well. No problem. No problem at all. Everybody's there are situations, by the way, where everybody's good. Reed is good. Cam is good. And I'm good. And we're all on the same page here. Okay. A couple things can be true at once. Yo, Reed, I'm going to tell you the story. Well, I'm going to save it for Jud, but I'll tell it now. The guys in the play basketball in the 80s and 90s. So doing the game yesterday, I walk into the gym, we go to shoot around, and I walk in with Matt Muehlbach, who played on that 88 Final Four team at Arizona. And Matt is he's one of the guy's just a light in the darkness. Well, he's a light. I like to think when he's around me, there's light as well. But Matt is extremely humble. If you met him, you would just think he's a broadcaster and that he's an attorney, and you'd figure out why he's a broadcaster because of his basketball background, because he's an analyst. But there was a group of guys like those late 80s Arizona Wildcats into the 90s, and then it expands to like the Quinn Snyders, to over at, like, we're talking Scott Pollard and those Kansas guys like Jacques Vaughn. We forget about that because we're so hyperbolic about today's college basketball and today's NBA players or yesteryear's NBA players. But there was a tremendous group of college players, right, who just played college and didn't play in the NBA and didn't play overseas. Maybe they did a little bit, and some of them might coach. But this whole group of guys, I'm doing a bad job of saying it, but seeing Muehlbach go in the gym yesterday and connect with Greg Gurley, who played at Kansas, who was a sharpshooter there, and talking to Jacques Vaughn, and they're talking about Quinn Snyder, and they're talking about Scott Pollard, and they're talking about going out in Scottsdale, and they're talking about Jud Buechler and Steve Kerr. And I guess they all got together recently for something. And it's just, I felt like, and I don't like to do this because popularity is fleeting and it's kind of BS, but I felt like I was at the cool kids table. I mean, it was, you couldn't imagine being in like I just couldn't imagine coming back as like Jud Buechler or Steve Kerr. Jud was a volleyball player too. I mean, these guys just personified cool. And it didn't, I'm not going to be old man here, but this just crept into my brain. Like they didn't know about NIL. So they didn't want NIL. That wasn't a part of it. It was about the camaraderie. But again, we were also telling stories yesterday about guys who played on some of those Arizona teams who, gosh, Bill Self was telling us about somebody who, and I forget the guy's name, but like he literally went to school and went to Kansas so he could eat. You know what I mean? Like he had no food wherever he was. Like that's why he went to high school. That's why he went to high school. It's why. So NIL is super important. But it's also nice to think about yesteryear, and those guys just personified cool. And you mentioned Kenny Lofton. Right before the game, Mulebach and I were talking with our good buddy Chris Tyson, the PR guy for Kansas, and Mulebach got a phone call, and he showed me the phone, and it was Kenny Lofton. And and earlier in the day, and this is something we'll talk with Buechler about. It was Mulebach, myself, and Bill Self, and Greg Gurley, the former Kansas player. And Gurley asked Self if he could name the entire 1988 Arizona Final Four starting lineup. And he did, with backups. And Bill Self is a savant, and he's as cool as they come. And we are presented by Slovacics. Socorro Family Ford, thank you very much too. Lake Waco Golf Club, let's go. We're so pumped about this relationship. Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. Of course, you find us on 365 Sports. And tomorrow we will have Jimmer Fredette joining us. So that'll be a lot of fun. Jimmer Fredette is a guy who 15 years ago was the darling of the college basketball universe. And he's a guy that had just had his jersey retired at BYU. And he did a lot of work last year with Fran Fraschilla and USA Basketball. And so with the 3-on-3 stuff, but we get to talk to Jimmer tomorrow about his run in the Big 12, or not in the Big 12, his run at BYU, and now BYU's run in the Big 12. So that'll be a lot of fun for all of us. But let's get to last night. We go to shoot around yesterday. I'll start talking basketball. And there's something different. Look, when you call Kansas game, there's something different. I think anybody can admit that. I've called a handful of Kansas games before, and yeah, it's cool just because we all grew up, especially people in my era, when there were only so many games on television every night or every Saturday. And Kansas was always one of them. And it's still the same way now, I guess, but there's just more options. It's a real magical deal. And the program and its success starts at the top. When you go to a Kansas practice or a shoot around, there's a different energy, there's a different feel as to how they relate and practice to different programs around the country. Now, everybody does it a little bit different, but there's a distinctive style to how Bill Self runs a shoot around. You know, he walks in, he says, hey, give me 10 minutes of 110%. And those guys to a man break out. I mean, the one thing that Matt Mulebach conveyed to me was, you know, these guys have to get taped for this shoot around because they're moving at 100%. They're going full speed. And that's interesting because you think about some of these big time players, and we talk about Darren Peterson like he's stealing money and like he should be on the FBI's most wanted list. And, you know, meanwhile, I'm watching him at 11 in the morning or whatever it was, 1 in the afternoon, go 99 miles an hour all over a gym in Stillwater, Oklahoma, to get in sync with his teammates before a game. And we asked Coach Self about, I didn't want to be that guy. There's enough. I talked about it yesterday, getting ready for the game last night. And I guess, hey, there's good reason. I'm not going to sit here and ignore the obvious. But getting ready for the game yesterday, there's 20 negative stories about Darren Peterson to every one positive one. And that is sort of a bummer. But at the same time, moments like last night are undeniable that's going to generate a ton of coverage, gossip, in today's society, toxic social media stuff. It's the world we live in, right? It's not cool, but it's out there. So I didn't want to be like, I did not want to ask Bill Self about Darren Peterson, except for, you know, what he expected from him tonight. I figured from there he would tell us if he was playing or not or whatever. And that's exactly what happened. I asked him a few questions about his skill set. Matt asked him some about the injuries. He said that, hey, he's going to go tonight. And watching the practice, it was beyond evident that his teammates really like him. Okay. Like, here's how it was described to me by several people, right? Coaches, support staff, people at Kansas. Like Melvin Council is the leader of that team as far as being a vocal leader is concerned. And Trey White is probably second in line. After that, you get the younger guys like Bryson Tiller and Darren Peterson. And Peterson is like on the floor. Bill Self was telling us how he just moves at a completely, the game slows down for him in a fashion that it does not slow down for guys his age, right? 19 years old. It just doesn't. And he's really never seen that. But from an alpha leader level, Melvin Council is the leader of that team, and Darren Peterson is like fine with that. Okay. So, like, that being said, that there's no dissension in the ranks. There's just not. The one thing that Melvin Council revealed to us was that after they lost to West Virginia and UCF, and they started off the Big 12 conference slate 1 and 2, they had a players only meeting where they were basically like, we got to be accountable. And Melvin Council said that was the favorite part of his season. So I got to imagine that he instituted or initiated that gathering. But if there's no, I mean, I don't wish because I like to stay positive, but like if you're looking for, oh my gosh, like this team is not getting along because of Darren Peterson and his in and out of the lineup and his, him not being available. That's not true. And again, last night, Coach Self told us, hey, this was he said a string of bad luck. He really was sick. I had 2 people tell me and Matt that like he was like green on that training table the night before or before the Arizona game where he couldn't play because he was sick. And again, like you look at him, look, Chris Visser, our own, came back from the Super Bowl and was like bedridden. My fiance, Christy, was bedridden with whatever this thing is going around. I don't know. There's really bad stuff out there this time of year. So whatever. Okay. You're in or you're out on that. Make up your mind. Okay. The game starts. He's playing and he is kicking ass. Before the game, there's a couple kids. The Oklahoma State student section is awesome. It butts up right to the broadcast table. I mean, you turn around and you're looking at Potsy, who's got chemistry class tomorrow at 9 a.m. Like, it's like, boom. Okay. And they're real good kids. They were fine. But during warm-ups, a couple of the kids were getting Darren Peterson's attention and they got it. He looked up at him. They were like, you don't play, you suck, and he just smiled, nodded his head. And then he moved forward and Bill Self gave him a pound and he said, let's go. And I read as a big game tonight for you. Right. So we begin and the guy is in the flow state 30 seconds into the game. And I'm not here to analyze the game like Jack Ramsey or Hubie Brown, but it was a beautiful thing watching this guy play. He controls the game with his own pacing, and it's really cool to watch. You guys watch it on TV. It's not like, but seeing it in person was really cool. I hadn't seen him play ever yet. And every shot he took, he made. I think he missed one shot. He had 18 points, and then he had 20 points at half. And then he scored 3 early in the second half. And we've all seen it by now where he tugs on his jersey or whatever and motions to Bill Self, hey, I want out. Okay. It was right after he drills a 3, his last shot of the game. Now, in all fairness, they were up by like 19 at the time when he left the game. And I thought we did not see and we should have, by the way, but we didn't see that interaction, right? Like, would have been nice to get a little help from the producer, but the guy's awesome. Joel is a great producer.
Look, producers aren't always perfect, Pete.
No, they're not. Neither are play-by-play guys. And this is not like, it's not like we're catching any crap for this, but looking back in retrospect, I would have, sure, you would have liked to have had that information because we were under the assumption that it's a 19-point advantage. He's got 23 points. Bill Self said, I'm just going to rest him, hamstrings, body. Go ahead.
Could it also be like, we see this a lot in basketball now, college and the pros, like I am trying to give an excuse here. But like guy hits a 3, quick timeout. like we do see that fairly often, right? Like it's not, maybe it just gets caught up where you're just like, oh yeah, Bill Self takes a quick timeout. He's probably going to get some reserves in here. They're up by 19.
Yeah.
And it's right before the media timeout or whatever it is. We do see that a
Well,
lot
no, but
now.
people, did you see the clip, Cam?
I've seen the clip. I'm just saying, like, if you're seeing it like from your vantage point,
Yes,
you're probably
thank
not
you. Yeah.
seeing that. You know what I mean? And you're just
100%.
thinking timeout, okay.
Yes.
Yes. No big.
Yeah.
If you're on the other side, you probably do see it. And yeah, the clip is going nuts on social media. Going nuts.
So for the rest of the game, we're like, hey, we're kind of getting his back, and getting Coach Self's back. Why wouldn't we? And the rest of the team, by the way, played phenomenal. Oklahoma State they just don't have the horses. It's so interesting, this NIL world. You talk to Steve Lutz before the game. Hey, what are you guys going to do tonight? Blah, blah, blah. And these guys are so transparent now. And it's a bit of, they're creating some noise. I mean, he basically says, we don't have the resources that Kansas has. We don't have the resources that most of the schools in the Big 12 have. If we're going to be any good, we've got to push the tempo, get out in front, and create mismatches on the break. Otherwise, we got no shot. If I get into a matchup in the half court with Bill Self, I'm going to lose every time because he's Bill Self, because his players are better than mine. That's basically what he said. And you hear that a lot, right? Because of the disparity financially between programs. But it was an amazing performance. And after the game, we're like talking about it. It's like, man, I can't believe he didn't play in the second half. And I think during the game or during a timeout, I said to Matt, like, if you're Darren Peterson, like, you want to be in the game right now, like you want to score 40. And he was like, yeah, but I guess they're just playing it safe, giving him a chance to rest. Okay. So then after the game, and Cam, let's roll. This is Bill Self talking with the media. I thought this was illuminating, to say the least.
I've had this a couple times now where Darren has a really strong first half and then isn't able to go the rest of the game. Just how have you sort of navigated that, and what challenges does that maybe present?
Well, we've had it more than a couple of times, and I didn't anticipate that tonight at all. I thought he was good to go, but obviously we only got 18 minutes out of him, and that's disappointing because he could have had a really big night. But one thing about it is it's happened often enough that our guys have learned to play without him, even though that's not the way we want to play. But that's certainly something that we're not unaccustomed to, right?
So that to me is a guy who's disappointed and has kind of had a little bit. He's had enough, and that was not the guy. And I'm not saying by no means was he sandbagging us yesterday. I think he was telling us the truth. And that's why that comment right there leads me to believe that he's been telling the truth all along, really. I mean, doing what coaches do to protect players. I think you have to do that if you're a grown man that talks to somebody's parents. I don't give a crap how much you're paying them, that, hey, you're going to come to school. There it is. This is the clip, right? Wow, that was a great call, by the way. You could hear that, but so
I had to make sure. I wanted it to be silent, but I had to make sure we got you in there a little bit.
Thanks, buddy. But I think he's telling the truth, and it's a credit to him. Like, he's not full of BS. Like, all along, he's kind of been on board and he's been understanding of what has been happening with Darren Peterson and sort of why he's been in and out of the lineup. He's always at least gotten a heads up, or he's known he's been a part of the solution to whatever problem it is. That one blindsided him last night. And I think he was frustrated. And I also think he was disappointed. And if you're Bill Self, you probably, I don't say probably, I know, you look at this situation and you say, okay, where do we go from here? Because I got this guy at 100%, I think. He's having a career night. Well, could be a career night. 6 threes was a career high. And he's tapping out. So how do I go forward and win? Conversely, and Darren Peterson doesn't do, and part of the media problem with him is he doesn't talk much. he doesn't want the spotlight to be on him. He wants it to be about the team. But if you want it to be about the team, then I would believe you would probably suck it up and play another 10 minutes in the second half, right? And let your coach take you out, which makes it very obvious to me that there are different sources of input, young guy, that are guiding him in a certain direction. He's not soft, okay? He's not anything but positive and liked by his teammates. But he's got some kind of agenda that he's working with this season. I mean, that's obvious. And comments like that from Bill Self. You know, I was ready to come on here this morning and talk about how this guy had a wonderful game and it was delightful to watch him. And he was taken out of the game because the game was a blowout, right? Let's see this one. All right, this is a Darren Peterson observation. He shot a 3 from the left elbow last night. That didn't hit a string on the net. Is there a better pure shooter in college? FYI, Jay Wright confirmed for next Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Visser. Chris, I don't know that there is a better shooter in college, a better pure shooter. And that was impressed upon me by Steve Lutz and by Bill Self. I mean, they both know, Bill Self knows what he's working with here. And one of the last things I'll say about him physically and his skill set is he does not look that big. He's not that big. So again, the whole thing, more games to be played. There is way more meat on this bone. We'll find out more about this situation with Darren Peterson. But I can say it was like a bedazzling experience to watch him in that first half. But it's super weird. There's no way around it. It's super weird to be around that operation right now. See how, and I'll just wrap it up before we get to Jud Buechler here. See how buttoned up that organization is. There is nobody that walks into the gym on that Kansas team that's out of line. Now, Greg Gurley did share with me and Matt Muehlbach, I'm not speaking out of school here, that guys will, and this is what makes Bill Self tremendous, guys will talk back sometimes. And, if Bill will take him to task, they'll talk back and he'll hear what they have to say. And then he'll be like, all right, well, do it right the next time. He doesn't his ego isn't so overwhelming that it sucks all the life out of the room. Okay. All right. Quick break. Jud Buechler coming back in a couple of moments. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovakics.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Save big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics. And without further ado, we got to bring up my man Jud Buechler joining us right now. Jud, what's happening?
Hey, Pete. How you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing great. I love the lid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Old school Arizona right there.
What do you think about the floor this year? How cool is that?
It looks great to me. I mean, obviously, my favorite part of the floor is the Lute Olson signature. You know, I mean, Lute holds such an incredible place in my heart and in my development as a player, as a human being. So, doesn't really matter what they do as long as that name's on there. I'm good.
Well, they're also doing a lot of winning on that floor. I was with your buddy. I had the Kansas and Oklahoma State game last night, and I was alongside Matt Muehlbach.
Sure. Yeah.
And he was so we get to shoot around yesterday, and it's Muehlbach, myself, and Greg Gurley and Bill Self.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to talk Arizona hoops, and they're like, "Can you name the starting lineup to Self of that '88 Final Four team?" And credit, he put you in the starting lineup.
Whoa. That was the farthest thing from starting on that '88 team. I was part of the Gumby crew on the bench.
What was the Gumby crew?
Oh, it was a name, Harvey Mason, Matt Muehlbach, myself. I think, the rest of the game, Sean Rooks. I mean, we were on the bench and we were just very enthusiastic with everything, and because we were winning a lot, right? And we were rolling, and we were number one team in the country for a number of weeks that year. And we just were having a lot of fun on the bench with all of our celebrations. And someone came up. It involved Bruce Frazier, Q, as well. Like, I think he named us the Gumby crew or something. I don't know, but I was far from a starter on that team.
But you wore, I remember correctly, I think you wore 35 in college, right?
Yep.
And in the pros, and so Self nailed that. He said Jud Buechler 35.
Wow.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah, that's very impressive. Yes.
Hey, how did volleyball help you excel playing college hoops?
Well, I think just eye-hand coordination. I played a lot of volleyball as a youngster. I played in high school. I probably could have been a better volleyball player than I was basketball player. I was an All-American volleyball player and just kind of an overachiever in the basketball area. But there's a lot of jumps. There's a lot of timing involved. I was a really good 2-foot jumper. That's what you do in volleyball. Like the one and then off 2 feet, and that helped with timing and everything. Both of them really complement each other. You know, obviously, a former Wildcat, Chase Bunninger, he was he was I was good. He was really, really good and still is. So the two definitely complement each other.
Still play out in tournaments and stuff like that. Like my brother used to live in Hermosa, and
Sure.
every time I would go out there, you'd go down the Strand, and there was another like official tournament with people who know what the hell they're doing out there, kicking ass and having fun.
You know what? The big tournament up there, I mean, there's a lot of tournaments. The South Bay is known for like the hotbed of beach volleyball, right? So the big tournament each year is this thing called the Manhattan Six-Man. And I've played in that since I was 18. And, you know, we were in the open, and then we moved to like the 40 and over, and now there's like a 50 and over. And I played in it last year. I think it was probably my last year. You know, there's a lot of young kids running around, feeling my age a little bit. You know, you go in some of the bars to get a drink or have some food, and you realize I'm kind of the old man here now. So I think that was probably it. So I fool around with it a little bit, but not as much as I used to, obviously.
You mentioned Lute Olson being on the court. It's really fun to be able to share time, meaningful time with Matt Muehlbach and kind of dip into that reservoir of information about Lute Olson and what he meant to you guys. What do you think he saw in you when he brought you to Tucson, and how did he help you tap into those skills that he saw in you, maybe skills that you didn't see yourself?
Yeah, you know, Arizona was like the last person in my recruiting thing. I mean, I had taken 4 other trips because I was going to do the volleyball thing as well. So, you know, I had gone to Pepperdine, I'd gone to Santa Barbara, I'd gone to UCLA. It really came down to UCLA and Arizona, and I was leaning towards UCLA because of the volleyball aspect. And I'm so happy that I chose the right path, because I felt like if I went to UCLA, I would have given up on the basketball and just gone with the volleyball team. Al Skates is the legendary coach, was a legendary coach there. He was close with my dad because my dad was in the volleyball world. So, you know, he came in late. I think he just saw an overachiever, an athlete, an athlete that he could develop. And that's what Coach Olson was all about. I mean, at that stage, he wasn't, you know, the only real 2 major signings were Craig McMillan and Sean Elliott. They were like the McDonald's All-Americans at that point. You know, we hadn't really reached the point where we were getting, like, I guess you would call it 5-star recruits now. I was probably, I don't even know. We didn't have stars back then. What was it, like a 3-star, a 2-star? I don't know. But I think he was just gathering guys that were good athletes that would buy into the program and that he could develop. And no one ran a better practice than Coach O. I mean, every day, the fundamentals, passing off the toss backs, station work. And he just, you know, I would have never reached the NBA or reached any of my basketball goals without him being, you know, coaching me along the way.
When did you guys feel like you had something special? That 88 run was so cool.
Yeah.
Was there a moment in time, whether it was at McHale Center or you're on the road or maybe you're off the floor, where you see the camaraderie and the chemistry just really coming together and you think, oh man, we got something special that's not only going to last us through this year, but this might last us a lifetime, this bond, because it has.
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, my freshman year, Stevie Kerr was out with an injury. If you remember that, he had played in, I think, the World Games and blew out his ACL. And so he missed. Yeah.
In the book,
Yeah.
we're not a season inside. I remember that, the John Feinstein book, he wrote about that. So I remember that. Yeah.
So Stevie wasn't there, and we had a decent year. I think we, you know, we were trying to fill that position. At one point, they had me playing point guard, and that shouldn't have been happening at all. But, you know, and then a little bit of Kenny Lofton. You know, Matt was a freshman. Muehlbach was a freshman at that point. So we tried to kind of fill that spot. We had Craig McMillan. We had, you know, Sean, obviously. We had Anthony Cook. We had the pieces, Joe Turner. We had guys, but it really all came together that next year when Stevie came back into the fold and he kind of took over that point guard spot, and all the pieces just kind of came together. And then we just got on a roll, and man, that team is still incredibly close, as you probably know, talking to Matt Muehlbach. We had a nice little reunion up in the Bay Area. The Stevie Kerr had us up there, and we all went to a game, and we had dinner, and we actually watched the Final Four all together. And we're on a big text thread together, and it was just such a special time in those bonds. I mean, we were just all in it together, around each other all the time. And then we we don't really talk all the time, and then we get together, and it's like no time has passed. So very, very special group.
The Arizona, there's a real, I've caught a bunch of games out there, and there's like as much as it's looked upon as this huge school, it's a vibe that you can put your arms around. Yeah. And it's almost like a Cheers deal. Like everybody knows everybody's name when you go inside McHale Center. It's not, and the reason I bring that up is because so many of these arenas, and it is what it is, but like even colleges, like I grew up in Villanova, and I go back there and it's a different world. The arena's really, it's beautiful now, and that's great, but it feels like a little corporate. How has Arizona kept that like boutique family feel while continuing to just rise and grow bigger and bigger as a basketball program and a power?
Well, it's such an incredible college town, really the town of Tucson is surrounded because of the university, and it's such a beautiful place. But I have to give credit to obviously Coach Olson. He was the founding father of this whole thing. And then, when he was kind of going through his thing, we had a couple different coaches that were there, but Sean, coach, who's now at Texas, he came in and he did, he kind of kept it going. I think that and obviously with Tommy Lloyd now it's incredible, but I think they just recruit a certain type of, obviously good player, but also just good human beings, like good people. I just don't think we've had a lot of just bad eggs there, that would like stir things up. Obviously you have a few over the years, but I have to hand it to those coaches that brought in not only top players, but also really good people as well that embrace Tucson. And you're so right. I haven't been back to McHale in years, but I when I did go back, I'd walk in and it felt like home, and they've kept it so unique and just it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
What about, do you have any memories from the filming of that movie Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey? I am such a nerd. I actually went to the high school because I was a kid. I was a kid growing up in Philly.
Movie. Yeah,
it's a great movie, and we never, I would watch that movie and I was like, there's like hallways outside. I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So, do you remember that movie being filmed out there at all?
I do. I know the movie, and I remember being filmed there. Obviously, I didn't go to any of the campuses, or I didn't go check it out or whatever where it was filmed and everything. I think Revenge of the Nerds was filmed there too. Or whatever.
Yes.
But the thing about Tucson is that I remember is like I'm a sun guy. I need to have the sun shining. It makes me feel good. Living here in Southern California, and every morning you open your shades and boom, the sun just hits you. It's a beautiful thing about the desert, and Tucson and everything. And I don't know, it just, you're ready to go. You start your day, and the weather plays a big factor, it played a big factor for me, and I'm sure it does for the rest of the crew that's out there.
What about your journey? You become this, honestly, Jud, you'll probably play this down, but you sort of become a household name from being a part of that special situation at Arizona in a time when I was talking about it before you came on here, but like there were only like a couple games on the weeknights and, on the weekends. And a lot of times Arizona was featured with that. And then we transitioned to the NBA on NBC. And then the Chicago Bulls run was really like none we've ever seen. Yeah. From a popularity standpoint and a moving the needle standpoint. What was it like for you to be on a ride like that? And honestly, man, to earn a seat on that ride, like a seat towards the front of the bus. Like, What was that like for you?
Well, it was just, it was a lot of hard work, obviously, to put yourself in that position, years and years of working out and, going back to McHale Center every night and making 500 shots or 1,000 shots, like we all put a lot of time in it, and I put a lot of time in it. And also it was a little bit of luck. It really was, you need a couple breaks. I was drafted in the second round by Seattle and ended up going to New Jersey and playing for the New Jersey Nets, which I thought, I thought going to school at Arizona was going east, for me. And so, the whole, landing in Newark Airport was like, where am I? Is this Mars or whatever? I didn't even have a clue. And so I bounced around in the beginning, and then actually, ironically, I ended up at Golden State, and I was there for 2 or 3 years. And then I was a free agent and I didn't know what I was going to do. And, Stevie Kerr called me up, said, hey, I think this is a good spot for you to come to Chicago. I think you'd fit in great here. We're running this triangle offense. You're not going to have to, go one. I wasn't a one-on-one guy, like isolate me on the wing against somebody. That wasn't my game at all. So I needed a system. And I needed to plug into a system that would work. And I went there and ended up, there was 18 guys in a mini camp, and they took 2. They took myself and Steve Bardo out of Illinois. And then I went to the big camp, and, I didn't know if I was going to make the team. They came to me at the end of the camp. I played pretty well. I think they liked what I was doing because I can make all the reads, in the triangle offense. You're reading the defense. If they take this away, you look here. If they take, there's different options. So you have to have an IQ, a basketball IQ. And I had that. And plus Tex Winter was there. And, I was super fundamentally sound from all of my work at Arizona under Coach Olson, So right place, right time, made the team, and Michael wasn't there. MJ wasn't there. He came back. 14 games left in the season. And then, we ended up losing to Orlando in the playoffs. And I was like, okay, he's coming back and I have to do every single thing I can to be on this team again, and then from there we come. And then that was the 72-10 run, which was just, a lot of us on that team had been on bad teams before that. I'd won 22 games one year at like Golden State or wherever, New Jersey. And so again, it was awesome. Right place, right time. A lot of hard work came together for me, and I got to do it with one of my best friends, Stevie Kerr, sitting right next to me on the bench and on every plane ride. And we're just hitting each other going, I don't know if we're going to lose another game this year. That's how good we were, So right place, right time.
Take me inside. It was such a special time. I remember I was a kid. I was just getting ready to finish up high school. And, Michael Jordan comes back. And it reminded me of the movie Superman 2, when Superman goes back into society without his superhuman skills and he gets his ass kicked at the diner. That always that Orlando series you guys lost kind of reminded me of that. And then the next year it was back on again. And he was Superman and you guys were just on this amazing trajectory. Was there a moment when he returned to the organization or the team when the mood or the tone shifted and you noticed, oh, okay, this is going to be a little different now? We were a really good team. You're playing in deep into the playoffs, but now it's back on again.
Well, when he came back, there was only a few guys on the team that had played with them in the prior championships, so it took us a while, because at one point Phil kind of pulled us all aside away from Michael and is like, you guys need to stop watching him and actually play, because we all just were in awe, oh my gosh, Michael Jordan's on our team and he's doing all these amazing things. So it needed some time, and 14 games wasn't really enough time to really gel and have everybody figure out their roles and feel real comfortable with him. And, the word that summer was, because he was making, I believe that was the summer that he was making Space Jam in LA. and he created this bubble. I don't know if you've heard all this, but he created this
What
basketball.
about this? Yeah.
Yeah, he created this bubble on like the Warner Brothers or whoever the movie was on their set, and he was inviting guys in, and he was just kicking their ass every day. The word was like, Michael invited guys in and he let them know, I'm still the guy, like I'm still the guy. And he was inviting in like top players, he wasn't inviting in, guys that, and so it was like, guys were going in there and coming out of there like, oh, he's back and he means business. So all those little things that we would hear, it just felt like, okay, we all knew he was upset. We all were upset at how it ended against Orlando. And so everyone had this fire, and then, I think that was the year, we added Dennis Rodman that summer too. We added Dennis and he came in and he brought a whole nother, and the guy's just a winner, he wins wherever he goes, and so you could tell early on that during that training camp, it was going to be special, and, Michael, and our practices are, legendary. I mean, the practices were harder, more competitive than most of the games. We really got at each other, and it just felt like this is going to be a great run. As long as everyone stays healthy, we're going to win a lot of games, and we're going to put ourselves in a position to win a championship.
What was your favorite Rodman moment? Anything that just sticks out beyond anything else?
Whoa, I can't say a lot of he's on his. Dennis had his persona that everyone outside perceived, this crazy man, and he's doing all this wild stuff. But he's one of the most genuine human beings, very gracious. He was the first one in the weight room almost every morning, worked real hard, is out all night partying and still showed up. And it was just amazing. Like, the guy was out doing all his shenanigans and having fun, but he'd get 20 rebounds the next day, next game, and you're like, hey, do whatever you want. The guy was he was amazing, but I just really enjoyed being around him. I spent, quite a bit of time with him. So did Steve, so did Randy Brown. And he's just, I just really enjoyed being around him, and obviously felt very fortunate to play with a player of his caliber, a Hall of Famer. You look back, Tony Kukoc, most incredible six-man ever, right? I mean, the guy was just phenomenal. Hall of Famer, Michael Hall of Famer, Scottie Pippen Hall of Famer, Dennis Rodman we had 4 Hall of Famers on our team, looking back, and then a bunch of really good role guys. So it was special.
All right, one more. I got one from the cheap seats here.
Yeah.
Did Jud win a shooting contest with Steve Kerr ever? Who wanted a shooting contest between the two of you guys?
By the way, no one beat Stevie Kerr in a shooting contest. No one. Okay. I mean, I don't think people remember how good of a shooter he was. I mean, the line was further back then too, the 3-point line. He was one of the all-time top shooters in NBA history, So, no, I did not win a shooting contest against Steve. I had to really develop my shot, because in Arizona, I didn't shoot a lot of threes. I was like mid-range inside, and then I got to the NBA, and I'm like, okay, I'm going in Park, and they're swatting my ball. I got velociraptors just beating my stuff up in there. So I had to develop my shot, and so I started moving out, and the corner 3 was really my spot, especially on the right baseline. But no, Stevie Kerr was, I'll use an NBA term, an elite shooter. So no, never came close to ever beating him in a shooting competition.
Last question for you. What would it mean for you as a member of the family to see Arizona, go the distance this year, to see Tommy Lloyd win a title and to have a championship in Tucson?
It would just mean everything. I haven't followed it super closely. Kind of a funny story. Matt Othick lives, 5 minutes from me, and he's got a little restaurant here, a pizza place. And, we were winning, and we were kind of rolling, and we were undefeated. And I think we were like, 7-0, 8-0. We had those great wins early on. And I hadn't really watched, to be honest. And I was following it a little bit. And I went down and Matt and I are sitting around, and he goes, hey, Bushy, how about Arizona? And I'm like, it's amazing. He's like, have you seen him play? And I'm like, I haven't seen him play yet. And he was, he fell off the bar stool at the chair and was like, what do you mean you haven't seen him play? Because he's super into it. So he goes, listen, this is probably the best Arizona team we've ever had. And I was like, hold it a second now. Okay. I mean, we were good in 88, Bibby, Miles Simon, Jason Terry, they won a national championship. How are we, along with the Luke Walton, Richard Jefferson, Gilbert Arena years, Stoudemire, you can go, we've had really good, talented teams. We haven't always won the championship, but so I started watching and I've been incredibly impressed and they just might be, they're so balanced. I think it's no secret to win in college. I think you have to have really good guards, right? If you look back at the championships, like you need to have guard play that's like exceptional. And we have that, in those guards. I love our big center, Krivas, Bradley Burrays are phenomenal. Koa Pete, the guy that comes off the bench that I love is Awaka. I mean, he should be on the football team. This guy is, this so big and strong. So I love, Del Orso had a huge night last night. So now I'm like locked in and following all these guys. And it would mean a lot to all of us because when we watch, it takes us back to playing there and how special those years are. And even though Coach Olson is gone, his name's on the court, and he meant so much to us playing there and developing us, like I said, as human beings as well as basketball players. So it would mean everything to all of the former players to see them hold up that trophy. And, I haven't gotten to know Tommy very well yet, but he just seems like such the perfect fit, for basketball, this day and age of basketball with NIL and all this stuff. And he's very good to the former players. I see any former players that go, he's got them talking to the guys in the locker room. He's embraced the past, and so it would mean a lot to all of us for sure, especially me.
Jud, man, what a treat talking to you, dude.
Oh,
totally
yeah,
delightful,
thanks.
brother.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time.
Sure.
And look forward to maybe chopping it up again. But
absolutely,
I really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Pete. Absolutely, you got it. Thanks for having me.
Take care, bud. Yeah. Okay. Jud Buechler. How about that? I mean, what a stud. A guy that I grew up watching, and it's cool. I've been very transparent with how much I like working with Matt Muehlbach and how great a guy he is. And when I said to Muehlbach, hey, I'm having Jud on tomorrow. He's like, what? Jud and I were just at the Grammys. And I was like, I didn't want to jump out of the bushes and be like, what were you doing at the Grammys? But that's pretty awesome. Thanks, T3 and D. That was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun. The one thing I'll say before we wrap up here today, and I didn't even want to make the comparison because it's silly, but Bill Self has said to his team, hey, look, I don't want you standing around watching Darren. I want you guys, when he's out there, I want you playing with him in unison. And Jelani McDowell said that, or not Jelani, McDowell's the kid's last name. He mentioned that, like, dude, we're all just watching this guy. Because, these guys aren't pros, but he's like, we've never played with anyone this good. So there's an adjustment period there for the team. But, man, what a time talking to Jud Buechler. We'll be back tomorrow with Jimmer Fredette. Cam Stewart, make sure you check him out on Wicked Boston. Cam, can I talk to you real quick? Just because I need my cam fix.
Sure.
So do you have a show today?
No, we got a segment going up today.
Did you talk to Zach Owen this morning?
I did talk to Zach Owen this morning. Yeah.
What was that conversation like? What did he ask you?
He asked me about my Rose's Cantina hat. We talked a little Marty Robbins a little bit. And then talked about having Jud Buechler on the show today. I mentioned they did a medal count for, the countries winning the most medals at the Winter Olympics. And I said, the U.S. is going to add a gold this afternoon. Women's hockey.
What time is that game?
Noon Central. An hour from now.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we'll let you get to it. There's one more thing I had for you. Something that's annoying me. that's probably better. Oh, what about? Oh yeah, I don't want to say it.
Okay.
But we got one of our own in the Rogue Media family who's not as connected. I shouldn't say this. Well, look.
I mean, you can always call me afterwards if you want.
Nah, but it's way more fun like this. There's somebody in our family that's like really. I notice it's frustrating to see certain people like get their teeth in topics that they don't know much about and like really try to like wrestle it to the ground and really look. I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to. We're a big, strong family here at 365 Sports, and we're going to keep it that way. The Pete Sousa Show will be back tomorrow with Jimmer Fredette. Thank you, Slovacics. Thank you. Oh, Cameron. God damn it, dude. I can't believe we almost let this happen.
You sound like my fiance.
Yeah. We're going to do a quick promotional piece of promotional material here for our beautiful Lake Waco Golf Club. It's a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco. One of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course, as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. I heard we got memberships floating around too. Corey, Stephanie. They're like, oh, we got all these memberships. I'm like, hello. Plus, check out their bar and grill. That's where you can find Cam. They got a pro shop too. In that pro shop, you're going to come off the course and you're going to buy whoever won the round apparel. That's what Bill Self and his friends do. He said, we don't play for money. We play for apparel, which I thought was pretty cool. Become a member today. Check them out. LakeWacoGC.com. That is LakeWacoGC.com. Last note about Bill Self, because I'm on like a Bill Self jag and, I'm like a prisoner of the moment and I don't want to forget this stuff. I asked him, because this is a fact, I would have asked anybody this. I was like, hey, you look amazing. Like what's the number? Well, give me like the top 3 changes in your life, right? I mean, obviously he had the health scares, but no fried foods. What else did he tell us? No fried foods. I think no sugar, no red meat. Has not had a piece of red meat in like forever since his incident, his heart scare. And then no more drinking. And hey, babe, I didn't like say, but I was like, oh, cool. Guy looks like $1 million and he's just got the fastball going. Meeting with him yesterday made me think that we talk about coaches bowing out of this. We talked about Scott Drew doing that yesterday. I feel like he's long for this, but I will say, vibe check, if Kansas were to win a title, be ready for anything. If Kansas goes to the Final Four, be ready for anything. I think he could walk away.
I think it's a great take, Pete.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing a few weeks ago of like when Kansas started getting hot again.
Yes.
I was like, I think that as much as Bill Self is a great coach and great coaches are maniacs and like that's just the way it is, I think he's one that can go out on top before his time is truly up. You know
100%.
what I mean?
Yeah,
and there's
and
some
I think
great coaches who couldn't do that. There was.
And he's
But
won
I think
2
he's
titles. So I don't even think it would take a Final Four. I mean, I'm sorry, championship. I think a Final Four could do it because he told us, to the Kansas standard, the past few years have not been there. And so I think he looks forward to kind of going out on top. And if they were to have a terrific year this season, I think he might do that. But again, like I said, he looks like $1 million, and as long as he's taking care of himself, his doctor told him he could coach forever. So who knows, right?
Bad news for the rest of the Big 12. If he can coach forever. Kansas. I mean, like obviously Kansas is loaded with talent. It's not like he's, got a bunch of Matchbox cars out there, but it is pretty impressive what they've done with such limited availability from their best player.
You know what I picked up from Kansas fans? You know what they think about Jerome?
Geez, I don't want to know. You talk about things going around this time of year.
No, do you know what they think about Jerome Tang?
I imagine they're not big fans.
Corny AF. That's pretty much what I got. Like, they look great guy, whatever, but just like that's the vibe I got. Right? We love Jerome.
It's funny because
they
they share the same. Jerome Tang and Kansas fans share the same kind of lame mentality when it comes to court storming. You remember Tang after beating Kansas? Oh no, we expect to beat them, and it's like no, And Kansas when they beat Arizona was like, I mean, just taking their victory lap on social media, kowtowing how they don't storm the floor. This is what a real program does. We don't storm the floor. We don't celebrate a
And
victory.
Steve Lutz at Oklahoma State. Remember, you and I were watching in the hotel in San Francisco when they stormed the court.
Yep.
When they beat BYU, and Steve Lutz was like, "I want everybody storming the court," which is kind of scary when you look at like Fred Hoiberg knocking people out. And who's your boyfriend at Duke? That guy needs to give it up, dude. John Shire,
my boyfriend from Duke. Agard,
John.
senior, 6'5" senior from Northbrook, Illinois, number 30, John Shire.
Amazing guy, amazing coach.
It
We're
was
all
a
good.
little.
I'm all stocked up on the court storming stuff from him. I just am.
Yeah, I get it.
That's all.
I get it.
I get
and
it,
I
but I
think,
must be
by the
scared.
way, Fred Hoiberg, nothing wrong.
No.
Like if someone is going to come into basically your place of work and is going to just stuff a phone in your face, he doesn't punch the kid in the face. He hits the phone out of his hand.
Yes.
Like that is beyond fair to me. Like, in fact, if you are the kid holding up a phone, like you have to expect that to happen. And you're lucky if it doesn't, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'm sure
wish
you've
you
been
were
a jerk
famous.
like that sometimes. I've done stuff like that.
I wish you were famous. You'd be fighting everybody. You'd be like Sean Penn reincarnated. dude.
I'd be the absolute worst, man.
You'd be like Shia LaBeouf. What's up with that guy?
Needs to get to some meetings, Pete. I mean, he said he was sober, and then this happens. It's tough. It's tough. Look, yeah, I would be brutal. I not that I don't think I'm ever going to become famous, but I don't know that I could ever handle that.
I got a feeling. I just don't want to see you because you are mentally strong and you are a tough kid and you go through what everybody else goes through. But no. But I would worry that if you got super famous, you would go like Menahan on us. You would be like, it'd be too much. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that shows like celebrity is tough for some people. Like,
I would become one of those people you describe of like, they make it to the mountaintop and they don't really want to be there.
No,
they just like to climb. Me and Romo.
Yeah.
Different ways, but yeah.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Jimmer Fredette. Thanks, Slovacics. Thanks, Chris Visser. Thanks, Cam Stewart. Thanks, 365, the Rogue Media Network. Can't forget about Daniel Stark. We will see you tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Sports.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.